So, I don't really know where to start with this video. It's not gonna be like a normal video that you'd normally see on my channel. I'm making this video to essentially describe the true hell that goes on in the background of my life that I don't really ever show. I mean, my close friends and my family know about it, but I don't show it online because I don't like being a super negative person, but I have unfortunately become a very disgruntled and relatively negative person over the past 5 to 6 years or so now. And it's something that I am actively working to improve. I am working to improve myself every day. I am definitely not a very happy person in general. You will understand why as I talk throughout this video, and I don't really know where to start with the history of everything, because I'm sure a lot of you watching this video know my history with my heart transplant and everything, but some of you watching this probably don't. So I'm gonna kind of go, and I can't guarantee all of this is 100% accurate. This is just what I remember or what I've been told, because obviously for a while I was unconscious. Back in the beginning of 2020, I had my annual echocardiogram, which is just like an ultrasound of your heart. I had one the year before that, which had noticed some slight thickening of, I don't remember, it's like the heart wall muscle, but it was like very benign. Meanwhile, like, I was born with Shone's syndrome. I don't remember what that even is. Leave that like right here. But I know that it's a heart issue. Randomly, probably 2019-ish, that muscle in my heart wall started thickening. In 2020, I got my echo, and we didn't hear anything at first. We got a call from some different doctor about something. They had found that my heart, that wall muscle had thickened severely, which is called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which it's extremely rare in people my age, but it's essentially called sudden death syndrome, where that's where you have like a kid that looks healthy in gym class all of a sudden just drops dead out of nowhere. So I had to get scheduled for a pacemaker and shit like that to prevent that from happening. But to go backwards a little bit, they found out about that. They also did some like lung pressure readings or whatever, and they were elevated but not crazy. You know, I got like the pacemaker and everything, that one completely fine. Before I got the pacemaker, we had found out, like I found out May, that I needed the transplant, which was horrifying to find out. But that's where the real issue started with insurance, and I was on a different insurance company at the time. They fought us every step of the way. We originally wanted to go to a hospital that was closer to us, because there's not very many that do pediatrics heart transplants. We were going to go to one that was 4 hours away, but since it was out of state, we were forced to go to the one that was 6 hours away in New York City, which at the end of the day, I'm glad that I went there, because I probably wouldn't be alive if I hadn't. But insurance, there were multiple times where I genuinely felt like the insurance company wanted me to die. There are times that I still feel that today on completely different insurance. That really hasn't ever changed. I fucking hate health insurance companies. They are the most evil scum of the earth companies on this planet. And I truly fucking mean that. They fought us on everything. We ended up going to New York City, and I got my transplant in November of 2020. What we know now is apparently in the time from I got my lung pressure tested in like March to my transplant, the pressure had gone up significantly, and they didn't test me before the transplant. What we know now is, had they have tested me, like had they tested my lung pressures before the transplant, I very likely would not have been eligible to get a transplant, and they either would have had to resolve that issue first or I would have died. I don't really know how that would have played out. Luckily, but unluckily, we didn't know that, which is why everything immediately went horrible. This starts the cycle of, and this is a repeated cycle that I have been living for the better half of a decade now. If you've seen any of my older videos, you can tell I had a lot more whimsy. I was a lot more joyful, excited about things, versus now. It's gotten better, but I'll be completely blunt, I am still completely fucking dead inside. I really am. As a lot of you know, the transplant went horribly wrong. I had to get emergency surgery the day after because there was clotting. And then, due to the lung pressure issues, I suffered many pulmonary hypertensive crises. On December 17th, 2020, I cardiac arrested, and I was pretty much dead for I don't know how long exactly. I was able to be revived. For a while, they were taking liters of blood out of my lungs. But that started the cycle of fighting for my life and trying to make progress. And every step forward, we took 2 steps back. Or at least that's what it felt like. Realistically, it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Every single time there was progress, there was always massive, not complications, but there was always something that hindered it or just completely fucked any of that progress over. I'm not going to go crazy into depth with all of the transplant stuff, as maybe in the future I'm going to make like a documentary on all of that. I was going to do that a long time ago, but due to my mental health, I ended up just not doing that, which is why I haven't posted so many videos lately. Long story short, a lot of really bad things happened. And after 5 months of just fighting and pure persistence and stubbornness, I finally made it back home. But I was on dialysis because, well, they had also found that I was only born with 1 kidney, which we didn't know until I was 17 years old. But all of the things that happened during the heart transplant ended up causing my kidney to go into end-stage renal failure. So I was on dialysis from December of 2020 till I got my kidney transplant, which was November of 2021. I was on dialysis for a year. Yeah, I had the kidney transplant. Physically, my body was in better shape than it really had ever been. Mentally, after going through what I had gone through, I was at, I wouldn't say an all-time low, because that came a couple of years later. My mental health was extremely deteriorated. I've always had generalized anxiety disorder, but I want to say it was around that time that I was diagnosed with chronic depression, which I still most definitely have. Recently I was diagnosed with ADHD, but that's not super important right now. But I do think that there are some other developmental issues that I may have that just are undiagnosed. Obviously, there was the stroke that happened. There very well could be hidden things that we just don't really know about right now, or maybe ever will know about. But my mental health, probably 2021 into 2023, was just fucking horrible. I was extremely aggressive, extremely just hostile and miserable, and I still am a pretty miserable fucking person today. It's still a result of that, but like, I did a lot of things back then that I regret now. I mean, I lost a lot of friends, but I don't really know how much that would have changed, because a lot of those people I don't think I would have been friends with today anyways. It was awful, and every time I thought that I was making progress in my life, it felt like I was hitting a wall. It eventually became a cycle of I would look forward to something, or, oh yeah, this is exactly how it started. So I had gotten home from my heart transplant. It was like a month or so I was like a little bit better, and I was finally gonna drive my car again. I had set up something with my friends so we could all drive our cars again for the first time since I had gotten back. The day before I had left, I had hung out with them at J&K Day. We were all gonna drive our cars on a Saturday. At this time, I was still having dialysis at the hospital because insurance wouldn't let us fucking go to a place that was closer yet, which eventually we did dialysis at home, which we learned. We went to a place and learned it, but yeah, the day before I had planned that event with my friends, I had a seizure, and they told me that I couldn't drive for a year. As somebody who loves cars and driving, that was one of the biggest fucking blows to everything that I had fought for. And that pattern has continued. So I ended up buying the IS, because I'm like, well, I can't drive, fuck you, I'm gonna buy a project car. So I slowly started working on that. That'll also come into play later on in the future of all of this. But yeah, I started working on that, continued to work on the go-kart and modify that because I had to keep giving myself goals. Basically what I was doing was I was either giving myself something to look forward to, something to get excited about, or just, just something to keep me busy, or something that I can like work on or do to keep myself occupied. And 9 times out of 10, all of those things would just get completely blown up in my face. And I don't remember specific examples because there was a lot from that time period that I have just completely blocked out. But I know the driving one was huge. And also after that first seizure, after I'd bit a chunk of my tongue off, my mouth hurt so bad that even to drink water, it felt like someone was holding a blowtorch to the side of my tongue. So it was awful. But yeah, I kept giving myself things to do, look forward to, and things, trying to progress at life being 18 years old. And after these things happened, I just kept getting angrier because it's like, why does this keep happening? When is there ever going to be a fucking break? Which I remember was a huge point in the hospital because all I wanted to do was go home, and there was always delays, and there's always some issue that was happening before I could get transferred to the next stage, like going to a floor down or the rehab center. Pretty much everyone at home didn't want to be around me. I didn't want to be around anybody. There were some happy parts, like in 2022, I went on some longer road trips with a couple of my friends in my car to a couple of shows, like a couple states away. Like, my memories with my friends are the good memories, and I don't want to say that overall most of everything was bad or negative, but it kind of was. There were very few happy, positive points. I know that I was insufferable to be around, and I hated being around everybody. But I want to say it was 2023 or 2024. After the first insurance I was on, and my mom ended up doing a lot of this, I ended up getting moved to Medicaid and Medicare combined, which I had that for 3 years. That lasted for 3 years after the transplant, after the kidney. So I think that was done in 24. I'd also been able to get onto Social Security because obviously it was not easy for me to work. I was still working like part-time, doing things here and there, just trying to be productive. It was around like 2024-ish that we lost Medicare. Luckily, I still had Medicaid. I knew that would be an issue in the future, which is what we will get into in a little bit here. The cycle of, moving forward with things, making progress in life, and then having something completely shit on it right in front of you. It kept happening. The best way that I can describe it is, and to this day, it still is kind of like this. You're watching your friends, all of the people around you your age. Think of it like you're in like a foot race for like field day in elementary school. All of your friends and all the people around you are going forward, and every 2 steps forward you take, you have another brick tied to your body. So after a while, you just keep getting weighed down more and more and slowed down more as you watch everybody in the distance can start to succeed and, move on with their adult life and actually, figure out how to do things on their own. Meanwhile, I'm stuck back. I can't do anything about it. No control over anything because everything that was happening to me at this point, I had no control or say over. And for the most part, I still don't. At that point, I had been looking for a full-time job because I was not satisfied with the amount of money that I was making because I wanted to get the IS running and done. I wanted to work on the go-kart as well. I had projects that I was trying to set for myself to keep myself occupied and busy, and also to make content for the YouTube channel, which never really ended up happening because it took me so fucking long to get stuff for each of my projects that I'm like, I can't post a video of me doing a couple things and making no real progress, like especially on the IS. That's why there aren't any videos of it, because it's still not done. And I'm like, I don't want to film a bunch of shit, like progress, and then the car is going to look almost the same at the end of the video with very little work closer to it actually being running and driving. I wanted to get a full-time job, so I ended up finding a body shop to work at, which I worked at for, I want to say, a month and a half. My manager was great, but the people that were training me were terrible. Like, they were just kind of very set in their ways. And I had multiple people telling me multiple different things to do, and I'd get yelled at for doing one thing that someone told me to do specifically, but the other person didn't like how that person told me to do it, whatever. And I'm like, my mental health is already fucking horrible. And at that point, I hated anyone getting pissy with me, and I still am like this now. But anyone that was kind of a dick to me, or not necessarily not emotionally intelligent, but somebody who was not very good with their words, but little things would just instantly just put me into extreme anger or extreme stress. It was a horrible working environment for me personally, not to mention the dust in the air. So after a month and a half, I quit, and then I ended up finding the job that I currently work at a machine shop, which they had like a paid training thing, which is kind of like a classroom setup, which was perfect for me. I could learn how to do everything for the first like 3 months or something like that, and then I went out on the floor. But it was essentially when I was in like the training area, and like a few months after that, I think for the company's insurance, because in case somebody did something stupid afterwards or had poor attendance afterwards, they could get rid of them without too much of an investment into that person. So for 6 months, I was like technically a contractor or something like that, but I was officially hired onto the company in it was in April of 2025. Mind you, 2024, 2025-ish, I started having problems with my kidney. Eventually, we found out it was likely because of my anti-rejection meds that I need to live that were causing it issues. So for the last 2 years, I have had chronic kidney disease. I have stage 3B. So for the last 2 years, my GFR, which is essentially my kidney function, which you can kind of think of it as a percentage. Average person's supposed to be at between 95 and 100% kidney function. Mind you, I have one kidney. My GFR, or kidney function, has been at an average of 40 for the last 2 years. It is exhausting doing anything. It is very common for me to fall asleep on the weekends. I work full time. I work a full 40 hours a week. Chronically ill. I'm on a bunch of anti-rejection meds and a lot of other crazy medications that affect mood, affect how my body is able to do things. I have pretty severe hyperhidrosis, so I have a horrible heat intolerance. I will start sweating buckets, which I do. It's miserable at work during the very hot days in the summer. Some of the meds that I'm on also exacerbate that. All of the heat intolerance also exacerbates the kidney problem, because if I get dehydrated, it could send me into kidney failure eventually, because my kidney doesn't have much left. Luckily, it has been stable at a low level, but it's stable. Regardless, chronically ill, chronically fatigued, I'm tired all the time, and I'm still working 40 hours a week because I don't want to sit at home and do nothing. I want to be a functioning member of society and contribute to society, and I want to actually make money. This kind of ties into what I really want to talk about now. We're getting more into the current state of my life. I had also been on a meeting with the Social Security people. We had asked them if they were able to have access to my bank account so they could see my pay statements and everything, so they could see what they needed to see and have access to what they needed to have access to appropriately come up with whatever amount they were going to give me each month in Social Security payment. Little did I know that I was under the impression that that's what was going to happen. I thought that they were, and there were other times where I had gone back and reported wages for long periods of months. There was a couple times there was one time I got like a large payment out of nowhere because they had said that they hadn't paid me enough, which then immediately afterwards they needed me to pay back like $1,000 of that lump sum of money that they gave me because they said they had overpaid me. I don't know. Regardless, it was kind of annoying, but I'm like, whatever. But I ended up losing Social Security in 2025, like June, which I'm like, it is what it is. I'm working full time. I'm making money now. You know, things have slowly gotten better. I have been working on myself a lot for the last couple of years. I'm still overall kind of a miserable person, and I'm kind of a shut-in. I am very introverted, not very social, mostly to protect myself because I have been fucked over so many times after learning this pattern of looking forward to something, trying to do something fun, and either people canceling on me or some other thing out of my control happening that would cause all sorts of problems with that, which realistically over time caused me to just not try anymore. Like I have kind of given up on life over time. I'm improving on it now, but there are still times where I am just like, why the fuck am I even trying? To get up to where we are now, which is kind of the entire point of this video that I want to just call attention to. how completely fucked up our government systems are for people like me. Now, when I came out of the transplant originally, and the reason why I filmed everything is I wanted to be able to help other people that were going through something similar to me. And I still do to this day. Obviously, you have to remember, as somebody who's had a heart transplant, I no longer am living only for myself. I'm living for myself and the legacy of my donor, who selflessly gave their life so that myself and several other people that received other organs of theirs could continue living, and also for my donor's family. I want to live on in my donor's legacy and my own legacy. So naturally, I want to live life to its fullest. That's why you see me building a race car. You see me building things like the go-kart. Obviously, we have my house started, which there have been so many delays with that. A lot of it due to weather, and obviously other things that I have no control over, which has been extremely frustrating. For the last 6 years, I have fought so hard and pushed myself to keep going so much so that I could live a life that I wanted to live. Because otherwise, what the fuck is the point of going through everything that I went through if I'm gonna suffer, right? Obviously, my house is still in progress. I will be making videos of that in the future. Hopefully we're going to get the concrete poured soon, but that's been in progress for over a year now. The IS, still heavily in progress. I will say, despite how miserable I was to be around back 2022, 2023, I have been very lucky to have a family that is extremely supportive of me. They have helped me with a lot. Now, one of the things that has frustrated me a lot with the IS also has been my house, because I can't really work on it in the garage because there's no room. I'm waiting to get moved into my house, and I have been for a year. I want to get it done. I want to get it at least running and driving, but I want to get it finished. Mostly for my grandfather. He's in his late 80s now, still in relatively good shape for his age. But he, despite every single time of me telling him no, has helped me a lot financially with that car. I want to make sure that I can give him a ride in that car and that he can see that car finished, because he is excited about that car as much as I am. How does all of this tie into today? How does all of these projects I have that I've wanted to complete, this whole thing of me wanting to, live life to its fullest, succeed, actually live, how does that tie into what I have to talk about? We'll talk about the SSI part first. So, I want to say back in the fall, they sent us a letter saying that I owed them over $12,000 in payments that they overpaid me because I wasn't submitting my wages or whatever. Mind you, as I had said beforehand, I was under the impression that they were able to see my bank account and could get all of the information that they needed from there to give me an appropriate wage analysis. And despite that, there were also times where I had sent them my wages for a period of months. Luckily, we were able to send in a dispute because I don't have $12,000. I make like $35,000 a year. That's a third of my fucking income. That's a lot of money. This year, I was up at the islands, and for the first time, I think in the last 6 years, I was truly able to relax, just laying in the hammock, listening to the lake, and doing nothing for a few days. And there was a day before that I left, I just started crying because I'm like, this is the first time I had felt peace or some semblance of relaxation in the first time in 6 years. And I don't know the next time I'm going to feel that. When I got home, they had sent a letter saying that no, I have to pay them the $12,000+. Mind you, that comes out of my own fucking taxes. Some of that is my own goddamn money. My own tax money that they take out of my paycheck every fucking month. That they take out of everyone's paycheck. Luckily, sure, I'm able to pay it in increments, but what the fuck does that matter? I still don't have 12 grand. I'm paying a mortgage, trying to get things with my house situated, trying to keep the Supra going, keep fixing the go-kart, giving myself things to do to keep myself going, or, as dark as it sounds, giving me a reason to fucking live. I found that out, and I'm also at the point at work where I haven't gotten a raise in 15 months. We're supposed to have annual reviews. I haven't gotten anything. Being chronically ill and working 40 hours a week, on the outside, you could say, sure, I don't look like the most productive person. No, I don't work overtime. Why? Because if I work overtime, I'll probably fucking fall asleep at work the next day anyways, which I already get extremely tired at work every single day. I don't work excessively hard, but I also don't sit there and do nothing all day at work. I have learned a lot in the last year as well. Haven't heard anything about a review, haven't had a single raise in well over a year. I'm also obviously getting closer to moving into my house, which once I move into my house, I'm going to have my mortgage, water, electric, gas, internet. I already pay for my car insurance, phone bill, whatever, but all of those added on bills that I don't really have right now. Right now I pay $1,000 towards my loan every month, even though I don't have to, just to help mitigate interest. Immediately after the SSI thing, we also got a letter from Medicaid, and this is the part that has kind of brought me to my breaking point. And I want to preface this with saying, I know there are probably going to be out there people watching this like, oh, look at all of the shit that you have. You should be happy with your life. You know, you have like your computer stuff, like your cars, you're able to work, you're kind of successful, whatever. There are so many people that have it worse than you, which honestly is part of the reason why I held off making a video like this for so long. Because I know there will always be people out there that are like, work harder, or there are other people that have it worse for you, or like, sure, you could ask me, why haven't you talked to anybody at work about, you know, getting a raise or being reviewed? Because I know from an outside perspective, I look like the guy who sits and doesn't really do a lot of work compared to your average person. Sure, I've been working on pushing myself harder at work and doing more during my downtime, despite the fact that I still have been doing stuff during my downtime, but I have to be extremely careful, because if I push myself too hard, I will end up with needing another kidney transplant. Sure, I'm always on time. I always am doing my work, but there are other people that work harder than me because they're not fucking chronically ill. But yeah, I haven't gotten a raise in well over a year now. And back to Medicaid, we got a thing telling us that so Medicaid has a threshold for how you're eligible to get it, which I knew was going to be an issue because SSI was keeping me on Medicaid. So I was lucky enough to still be on Medicaid after I lost SSI. But here's the kicker. There is some fucking limit they have, like how much you make per month, that it, like, you know, dictates your eligibility to be on it. They're kicking me off of Medicaid because I make $100 a month more than their threshold. Now, mind you, I have to pay $12,000 plus fucking dollars to SSI now. Haven't gotten a raise in well over a year, and I apologize that it's going to sound like I'm bitching a lot in this part of the video, but I have to. I have to get blood work every other week. I have appointments every fucking month, medications that are extremely expensive that I need or I will die. Now, I have a $2,000 deductible starting August 1st. I don't have $2,000 laying around for fucking medical expenses. And once that's paid off, then I have copays on everything. And that deductible restarts in January of every single year, which just my meds alone could easily take up that deductible in one trip to the pharmacy. Anyone with half a brain cell that can do math knows that $2,000 a year is more than $100 a month that I am over their fucking threshold. So my income that they're saying is above their threshold by $100 is now going to be significantly below that threshold because of my health expenses. And remember, during all of this, I am trying to progress in life. I'm working full time, being a productive member of society. I'm trying to have my house built, trying to get my car done so I can not only make myself proud, make my family proud, and, you know, have something to show for myself. And it genuinely feels like I am being punished for trying. Like, sure, I could just work part-time and then reap in benefits, but what the fuck's the point of that? You're sitting on your ass doing nothing half the time. Like, you're not being productive. But people take advantage of it and do that. I'm actually working. I'm chronically ill. I'm not going to have any fucking money after this. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to move into my house once all of this starts, because I'm not going to be able to afford to work on any of the projects anymore. I had a lot of huge plans with my house and my shop, so I could have an area where I could work comfortably, because I need climate controlled, obviously, due to my heat intolerance, and, keep myself busy and contribute to society. I don't know how I'm going to do that anymore. $100 more a month is going to cost me thousands of dollars without the added fucking 12 grand from SSI. It genuinely, it's like, why the fuck do we even have these programs? Aren't things like Medicaid and Social Security supposed to be there to help people like me? But instead, I'm the one getting fucked over for doing the right things. I'm actually trying, and I'm the one getting fucked over, as I normally do. I'm at the point where it's honestly like, why have I been fighting so hard, putting so much energy into trying for the last 6 years? Trying so hard to keep finding things to live for and finding things to keep me going, when the end result is just, I'm going to have no fucking money, and for the foreseeable future I'm going to be just stuck further in this state where I have zero control over my life, because all of the money that I make is going to be ripped away from me, either to bills, which I had already anticipated because everyone has bills, but not to the medical expenses that I have, because that was all paid by Medicaid. It has genuinely put me into a position where, obviously, I don't want to die. There are things here that I still want to do and accomplish. I want to get my IS done. I want to make the go-kart awesome. I want to fully build the Supra. Get my house and my dream shop done. Provide motivation for others going through things similar to what I'm going through, to help them succeed as well. I'm at a point now where it's like, I don't want to die, but I don't want to keep doing this anymore. I can't keep doing this. I am so internally defeated. I fear for the future, as it is going to be more difficult for me to have a positive outlook on future things, because if I'm completely out of money, I can't give myself things to do to keep myself going. Now, I want to preface this with, I am not going anywhere. With my chronic depression, it's difficult. Apologize if this was a serious video and probably quite boring. I just wanted to talk about these things to show, the real hell, the real, fucking awfulness that is going on in the background of my life, and I'm sure many others that have gone through things like what I have gone through, transplant and other severe health issues. Shouldn't people like me and those who are chronically ill be entitled to things like Medicaid? Like, what the fuck? Why are we punished for trying to succeed given the worst circumstances ever? I have things that I want to accomplish. I want to live on in my legacy. I want to live on in my donor's legacy, in my donor's family. I'm gonna keep trying, but over the last 6 years, despite my mental state getting better, life itself has only gotten more difficult. There is no end in sight that I can see. I apologize again that this has been kind of a depressing video, but I needed to share the reality of what's going on behind the scenes of my life, because it's rough. I want to make things work. I want to make more content for YouTube. And part of my content for YouTube, just making that, I know that other people that go through things similar to me see that and can see that what I am doing, and know that they can do those things too. If you have made it to this far into the video, I just want to say thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate your time. I'm just glad people are listening and can hear what I have to say about what's truly going on behind the scenes. I'm going to keep trying as hard as I can, and I'm going to try to make things work. I want to get the car done and everything else done, but it's all going to be very dependent on what happens in the future. But yes, thank you for your time. I will see you in the next upload. I have also started uploading shorts because they've been a little bit easier to make content for, so keep an eye out for those as well. Have a great rest of your night or day or whatever time it is for you. Goodbye. Until the next time.